Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GTMF Backstage Pass, a chance to chat with friends, family, community members, and connect with each other. My name is Jerry Ho. I'm the Associate Conductor of the Grand Teton Music Festival, and this would have been my fourth summer here. And I'm happy to be hosting this show with my dear friends, Eva and Mike.
How's it going, Jerry?
Hey there, and my name's Eva Cappelletti Chao. I'm a violinist with the GTMF Festival Orchestra, and I've been going there for almost 20 years. This would have been maybe 19. And I'm glad to be here.
And of course, with helping us with all our technical and production needs is Mike Richards. Welcome,
How's
Mike.
it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me. Have a good show. We'll talk to you later.
Wait, Mike, before you head off, we wanted to sort of put you under the gun and grill you a little bit since
great.
we haven't had a chance to find out more about you. So I figured our friends and audience members would like to get to know you a little bit better. So besides being here on Fridays helping us out, I know that you do a lot of things for the festival. Won't you just tell us a little bit about what your position is and your job with the festival?
Of course. Over the last few months, my position has changed a little bit. But I work in operations, so I deal a lot with kind of the back end of running the festival, working with the musicians, doing some of the kind of office stuff as far as preparing the festival. And I also manage our education programs and kind of help develop some of the new direction that we're trying to go with our education programs, as well as, kind of produce and edit this program. It's an ever-evolving position, but I got to say it's a really fun job working with all the musicians and working with you guys.
That's great to have you here. And of course, with these many different jobs and different hats you have to wear, you have to sort of improvise on the spot. And so why don't you just tell us a little bit about your musical training, where you're from? And
yeah, of course. That's kind of my thing, is just making it up as I go. I have 2 music degrees. I'm a bachelor's in just regular performance and a master's in jazz studies. I'm a saxophone player. So I'm really good at, just kind of going with the flow and making it up. I got my master's in New York and was fortunate enough to play a lot and still play quite a bit. I actually played with the orchestra for 3 minutes on one WC prelude last year. That was terrifying and also awesome. So.
Great. Well, we're so grateful that you're here to help us, and I'm sure for all the things that you do for the festival. So thank you so much, Mike.
Oh, of course. Thank you, guys.
These past few episodes, we've had different instrument groups. So a couple weeks ago, we had bassoons. Last week, we had violins. And this week, we have double basses. And, yeah, of course. And when you think double basses, it's always party time. Thinking about how the instrument sort of shapes your personality and such, because, with the basses, especially at the GTMF, it's always, they're so nice, they're so laid back, and it's always like a little family there. It's very comforting seeing them sort of lined up there on the stage right of the hall.
Yeah, I was thinking last week we had the violins, and Chris Pilgrim said something about how fun it is to sit in front of the basses for some of the pieces. I don't know exactly the right word, but there's a groundedness that comes from being around the bass section while we're playing, but also then around the bassists, like at the breaks and stuff like that. There's just this kind of ease and yeah, like they're comfortable.
The bassists are the fun-loving connectors of the orchestra, bringing us all together through not only their musical playing and their sound in the orchestra, but also off stage through their bass parties, which everybody loves going to. It's always a highlight of each week because they tend to have one a week for the festival. So today, for everybody who's joining us, is going to be our virtual GTMF bass party. So maybe without further ado,
let's bring them on. Let's
bring them on. Good afternoon, everyone. So good to see all of you.
Hello, hello.
Greetings. Hello. Hey, Andy, Corbin, Dave.
So happy to be here.
Hey. Great to have you here. Maybe we can just take a second for each of you. Could you just introduce yourselves? Tell us where you're at, how long you've been coming to the festival and how many bass parties you've been to.
I'll jump in. My name's Bill Ritchie. I play in the Omaha Symphony. This would have been my 35th season.
Woo!
And we started, I can't say that I started it, but when we used to have the musicians live in the village center, which is no longer in the village, we would have spaghetti parties. And that kind of morphed into different parties. Deborah Dunham would add gourmet touches to the parties. We ended up in the parking lot of Opry-Vu, and Chris Brown would help organize things. So it's been a fun tradition to keep going for all these many years.
That's fantastic. Robin, you're next.
All right. My name's Robin Kesselman. Oh, I got cherry juice all over my fingers. I play in the Houston Symphony, and I think this is going to be my 4th summer at T-Town. So I'm a newbie, and I've been so welcomed into the club. It's been really amazing. But yeah, I can't exactly remember how many bass parties I've been to, and I think that's kind of the way you want it. There's a murky haze as to the numbers of all of these things, but definitely missing the family, and it's so nice to connect this way.
Great. We're so glad that you're here, Robin. Corbin, you're next. You're coming to us from your backyard? Yeah.
Can't see it, but right in front of me, I've got a tandoori oven. It's right now at about 950 degrees, and I'm just going to cook through the whole show.
Awesome. Awesome.
This would have been my 15th season at the festival, and it's not important to remember how many parties you've gone to. It's more important to remember that you went to a party last night.
Words of wisdom from Corbin.
Andy, how are you?
Hello, hi. I'm Andy. I play in the Milwaukee Symphony and teach at Northwestern. I have been coming to the festival since 2007. And so that means bass parties. However many weeks I've played is however many bass parties I've been to. We're very vigilant, once a week at least. So
It's good. It's like practice.
yeah.
Yeah,
Once a
whether
week.
you need it or not.
Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave Williamson. I'm in the Minnesota Orchestra, and I'm here in my kitchen. I'm going to cook something that's a bass party staple. And I've been coming 25 years. I've had a few years I couldn't make it for tours and various reasons, but it's a big part of life, like everybody else. I have no idea how many bass parties I've been to because, I mean, you could add up the number of weeks I've been there. That's probably a close estimate. So I'm just gonna pour myself a homemade beer here, just so I can get ready to cook.
Can you tell us what kind it is?
This is a squeak fart Kolsch,
Okay.
which is a recipe I designed with Dave Anderson, who plays in New Orleans.
Yes, we know where the name came from.
And I made it, but I made this with a Kolsch yeast because that's a nice German light ale yeast, and it's summertime, so that's what that looks like.
Yum.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So
while we're talking about music and everything else, we're going to talk a little bit about food. So, Andy, why don't you kick us off with what are you cooking there, and what you got to prepare for us?
What I'm going to make today is what Dave made at my very first bass party in 2007. So that means that my son Miles was there with me, and he was not yet 1. And Dave's boy Sebastian was there, and Sebastian would have been 4 or 5, right? I've been to all different weeks of the festival, so I know almost every bass player there. In the last few years, we've kind of settled into going at the end of the festival for various reasons, as have other basses. And interestingly enough, almost every bass player that goes at the end of the festival have boys around the same age. So my boys, Miles and Nelson, have grown up seeing Sebastian every summer. Early on, they saw Bill's kids a lot in the summer.
And was the babysitter named Miles?
That's right. Miles babysat Miles years ago.
And Miles just got married.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And there's Ben Stiles and the Barber Boys. And anyway, so the bass parties, we cook a lot, and the boys go and play wiffle ball, or last year was a big football game. Dave was running around on the football field, and he's a lot faster than you think. So anyway, I'm going to make this. I walked in the house, and it smelled terrific, and I said, what's going on here? And I had just met Dave. But anyway, Dave, do you remember what that dish was?
I can guess. It wasn't red beans and rice, but...
No, it has 4 ingredients, and I'm putting in one of them right now.
Oh, I do. It's it's that old Roman dish with anchovies and red peppers and garlic and olive oil.
4 ingredients, that's right.
4
Excellent.
ingredients.
Dave, you still got it. So what I'm putting in here is just the olive oil, then I'm putting in the red peppers.
Awesome.
Right, I've started the water boiling.
Awesome.
And then I'm putting in a bunch of garlic, right? A whole lot of garlic. And Dave, how many anchovies do you like to use?
One can.
I found it interesting that you had a can of anchovies in your apartment in Wyoming. I've never had a can of anchovies in my real house, and you had anchovies there. So we've made a lot of things based on this, and this is the first time I've ever put the anchovies in there because, I mean...
Just mash them up and make a paste with the garlic. There you go.
Yeah, that sounds great. So anyway, here go the anchovies. Wow.
Andy, this is unbelievable.
But I remember it was really good, so I'm going to do it. But this is just for you because, man, anchovies, really?
Yeah. But don't put anything else in. That's the thing.
But that's right. Well, yeah, that's the rule.
You want to add some oregano, something.
I forgot one thing. I got all this swag, from last year. This great stuff. Yeah. But I think it's better.
Oh, there. Nice.
Oh, right? Yes. Very nice. I mean,
hygiene first. So here they go in, Dave.
Oh my God.
And now this is just going to simmer and get really soft and flavor the oil. And Dave, can you see there? Is that enough olive oil there?
I have no idea. A fair amount, and then the red peppers, put them in, and they just get soft, and put them on your pasta.
And that's what's happening here. This is the first thing I had, and there have been a lot of great meals at base parties. Last year might have been the record when Corbin's wife Nori made about, I think they counted, she had all the little bass boys over, and Nelson and Miles and Ben, and they all helped make about 200 stickers.
I think it was even more. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest.
That was one of the greatest ever.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, while that is cooking, then shall we listen to some music? I had asked all of you guys to sort of give me some of your favorite memories from GTMF. So the first one that we have here is. Mike, if you could pull up, we have Beethoven 9. What better way to introduce the basses than the beginning of the last movement of Beethoven 9? That was from 2016, and I still remember that. That was the first concert that I ever heard of the music festival. And one thing that that Eva was talking about at the beginning was sort of the sound that all of you are producing to support the orchestra, and maybe you can speak a little bit about what it feels to play in Walk Hall, because it's sort of a very special place to play, right? Because it's so much wood there, and you're right there next to the wall. Everybody can feel sort of the foundation and fundamentals of what you're playing.
Well, the stage is hollow. So one time when I was at the seminar, I was on the stage crew in 1983, and we had to bring out the risers for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir to do the Dirty Requiem. And that's when I realized the stage is a big soundboard, because there's a lot of empty space under that wood floor. So you know what's happening with the floor vibrating. It's
my favorite place to play, period. And we have a very good hall here, but even like the Music for Ryan, which is probably the second funnest place to play the bass, because their stage is also hollow. It's just unbelievable, and also to play chamber music in there, it's kind of like you always feel like, am I too loud? And they'll say, not really. It's just, it blends in just right. You can kind of just relax because the hall gives you such a nice, comfortable feeling, you know, to put your end pin in that stage and just let her rip. Nothing like it.
There aren't many halls where the audience kind of hears exactly how you hear it in the space. You know, like where we sit on the stage, it's almost overwhelming, particularly in big repertoire. And that's a good thing. And I think that sound is just as overwhelming a lot of times for the audience in a good way.
The fascinating part about having it hollow and not having to work so hard to make that sound is that when you actually do want to drive the sound, it's available to you. And that doesn't happen in most places. First chicken is out of the oven.
Woo!
Right. Beautiful.
Oh,
Dave, tell us about what you're cooking there.
it's sort of barbecued boneless country style ribs, and I've got a little stew beef in here also. I dredge them in paprika, flour, and kosher salt. And I was telling the guys earlier, this dish is, I've made this many times. I remember there was a huge party at McBean, and I made this. I said, how many crock pots do we have in Teton Village? Because there were going to be 50 people there. So, but what's good about this is you can start it before you go to rehearsal, and then it's ready when you're done, and it's time to have the bass party. So I've got my pork ribs, and they're sauteing in this pan. And I was also telling people another thing was one time I made this dish the last week, and everybody was almost out of olive oil, including me, but I had some bacon. So I sauteed some bacon and fried the pork in half bacon grease and half of everybody else's olive oil, and it was fantastic. So now that's what I always do. I make this dish.
Bacon makes everything better.
Some wine, some bay leaves, and we're just gonna add all this to the crock pot now because it's been stewing for a while. And that flour you put on it, it kind of makes a nice roux. We're gonna get all that good stuff in the crock pot. Then we're gonna add a little garlic, some carrots. By the way, who else has moose china in their house? And these are some tops of onions. And then I've had sauteing in this pan for a while. Some onion, very slowly sauteing so they caramelize. Onions, green peppers. And I didn't have any celery, which is often at the end you're out of something, but I did have some kohlrabi, so that I'm using that. A little basil, coriander, and then to top it off, there's a secret ingredient.
Ooh.
And it is cheap white vinegar. I'll come back in 4 hours and dinner will be ready.
Dave, I wish I was there. You're cranking, dude.
Very nice.
Well, I'm getting hungry.
While it's cooking, we're going to listen to some more music. So this is we're going to pull up something from last summer. So being at the festival, of course, Mahler is always a central part of our experience there. And here's a little clip from Mahler 4.
Oh,
Wow.
You stopped it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we could sit and listen forever, but we do have a certain time limit. Corbin, you were telling me about you know, how amazing the last summer was. Just sort of the Mahler was very touching and such. Just all the whole experience was.
Well, that happens at the festival a lot, where you play a piece that you play all the time and have played many times with many different conductors, and in a way stops meaning as much to you because it doesn't get better. And then you come out to GTMF and you have a week like the Mahler 4 from last year, and it's like, okay, this is why we do this. The audience is with us from the first note, and your colleagues, you feel a sense of collegiality that just doesn't exist at your home. Like listening to just that clip, I can feel the spirit of exactly how I felt last summer while we were playing that piece. It's just beautiful, just a great feeling. Hard to get anyplace else. It's not trying to be disparaging about where we work at home. That's not what the point is. Everyone is trying their best there too. It's just that we do it on a weekly in and out basis, and it's just ends up being a different sort of thing, hard to recreate.
Something that's special about the festival is that it brings so many musicians from all across the country together, and you don't normally get to play with each other. It's like a family that comes together. It's a family reunion every summer, and just being together, and it makes you play differently, appreciate differently in a certain way that it's hard to recreate anywhere else sometimes.
It's like a family reunion, but with new players every year too, which is also one of the most fantastic aspects of the festival. Is that if it were just the same people every year, I don't think it would work. We need the new players and the new faces to just bring something new to the experience. By the time the summer's over, I feel like I got a new best friend. It's happened to me so many times, and I just love that. That's one of the best things about the festival.
Well, speaking of last summer, let's move on to our next music clip. So something that was a little bit of a contrast, the Stravinsky Rite of Spring.
Oh. I'll never forget, I was sitting in front of Dave and Fred, right? And this wall of just good old-fashioned, dark bass sound carpet was just hitting me and Corbin in the back. It was blowing our hair forward, right? And Corbin just turned to me and he said, I'll never forget this. He just said, man, you just don't get that kind of sound anymore, do you? You know? It was like someone was punching me in the kidneys.
In a good way.
Only it was good.
In a good way.
What a held moment.
Dave, is it a sin that I put parsley on it?
No.
Oh, beautiful.
You didn't. Oh, look at that.
Mm.
Oh.
No, yeah,
My
just
mouth
a
is
garnish.
watering.
That's fine. Yeah. How is it?
What's that?
How is it?
Oh, I'm not going to eat it. Gross. No way.
Oh, dude. Awesome, man. Andy was talking about our kids growing up together. I mean, I've told Andy, I've told all you guys this so many times, but these are some of my best friends. And I see them a few weeks a year, but we keep in touch. We've subbed in each other's orchestras sometimes, in fact, in my case, a lot in the Milwaukee Symphony, which was amazing. These are some of my best friends, and our kids too. Our kids even keep in touch on Instagram and stuff during the year.
I wanted to check in with you, Eva, just to see if we have some comments, questions from our...
Yeah, we're getting a lot of chat through here. So first of all, we should say hi to the friends that have come to see you guys today. We have Gail Williams, Jeff Counts, Bonnie Blankenship, Amy Giglovich, Linda Hurwitz is back, yay, Marsha Peck, Marta Kuchkowski, Sarah Schwartz, and Peter Benelil just came on as well. That's great.
Hey, Peter.
I want to see Corbin's chicken.
How many times have you said that, Dave?
Mm.
No, I mean the one he just cooked.
Oh.
I'm just finishing up the chicken now, and then we're going to do lamb. And after that, I got a bunch of to-go boxes, and I'm going to put dinners together to feed my neighbors. A couple of folks that are in the medical field and are working at hospitals, and then a couple of folks that also are pregnant. And so I'm just can't do much with the base these days, and so food's a nice way to do it.
While we're going to that, Robin, you want to tell us what you're making over there?
Something I've been doing kind of in between practicing, teaching, whatever, recording stuff, this whole thing of trying to like learn some new skills. And so once the summer produce really started cranking, I've been kind of doing a lot of like canning and like processing like fruits and veggies. So I'm actually right now, I'm just putting together this, like, I've got a bunch of cherries. So I'm going to like put together like a cherry preserve situation. But the canning zone in the pantry has gotten like pretty outrageous. Let me see if I can. So
Wow.
there's like, you know, it's kind of like the science experiment lab.
Oh,
But
baby.
yeah, so this is all like, I'm investing in the deliciousness of the future. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Of like my November, December self. Even though in Houston, I mean, it's like there's still some kind of growing season all the time. It's still like, you know, it's something to, like Corbin was saying, kind of try to have some betterment, learning, using your brain in a different way. And also, I think that even when I'm practicing a lot, it's like, it's nice. The reason I like to cook, and I think that the reason why it's like we all like do that, it's always part of the base party too, is it's nice to like work with your hands where it doesn't matter if it's in tune. You're relieving the self-flagellation part of the normal stuff that we're doing.
We have to be careful with knives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on. I've been kind of like I'm in the early stages of, and I need to talk to Corbin's wife about this. I'm trying to get a little more of like a Japanese food, kind of like pantry going on. So this is just some leftover like katsu I had. And so I just like kind of made a sandwich out of it. And I don't know, I'm a big leftovers. I feel like if I can't get like at least 3 meals out of something, it's like I don't want to spend the time, you know?
Corbin's holding up some stuff over there. Corbin, what you got there? Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Great.
That is downright medieval.
Very nice.
That is.
For a guy who's been a vegetarian for going on 30 years, yeah.
Corbin's paneer is amazing. For those
Next
of you
summer.
who have
Next
not
summer paneer.
experienced, tell them about it, Corbin.
Half gallon of milk, a lemon, and a lot of goodness. That's all it takes.
There are very few things that can drag me away from a base party, but baseball is one of them.
Ah, yes.
You got to take off, Andy?
I do.
Thank you, Andy.
All right. Well, thank
Hey,
you
bro.
so much for being here.
Love you
Great to
guys.
see you all. 2021.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Take
Bye,
good care.
Andy.
Raise hell. Yeah.
Andy.
Bill, I just want to check in with you. You said that you just got off the lake. You've been sailing, and
I just bought a laser. It's pretty much a single person boat. It's about 13 feet long, one sail. I used to sail a snipe, which is a sloop with 2 sails. It's an older boat and it needed more repairs than I was willing to put money into a boat built in 1980. I think one of the guys at our sailing club is going to buy it from me at the same price for the laser. So we have races every Wednesday night and Saturday afternoon. And last night I got a 3rd place ribbon for my race.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey.
But there were only 3
Awesome.
and I only capsized twice. It's a little oxbow lake just across the Missouri River in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And it's kind of the only game in town. I grew up in Michigan, so I'm used to being around a lot of water. So it's been fun to have something to do. My wife and I try to get out and walk or take long bike rides every day just to get out of the house and be outside. And we'll be leaving for Lake Michigan tomorrow, where we have another sailboat. So I'll be getting my sailing fix next week on the big lake.
Bill, when are you going to host us? When are we all going to camp out and sleep on the boat?
You know, it's pretty small boat. There's only room for 1 person. But if you want to come to Lake Michigan, I'll be there tomorrow night through the 7th, and you can bring a sleeping bag and we can sleep on the beach.
Sounds amazing.
Before we do more, maybe we'll play one more clip of music here, and just to sort of tie it all together, and this brings us back to Mahler. Definitely, for a lot of you requested this, and I know that from other guests on the show throughout the summer, this was one of the highlights, and this is the Mahler 3 that we did, I think 2 years ago, so it was 2018.
Whoa. Wow.
We were supposed to play that this spring. Of course, it got canceled.
Oh.
Oh.
And we won't be doing Mahler 8 next year either.
So that's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
the larger orchestras, and knowing that that's going to be a while before we get to play some of that delicious.
We can't have the singers.
Oh, Gail Williams says, "Oh, this makes me well up. Better get moving before I cry."
She's going on a bike ride.
Off because she's taking a bike ride because she's out there in Jackson Hole. She also says to Bill, "You remember I don't like Council Bluffs."
Yeah, and I'll tell you why, because she had her horn stolen when she was in her hotel, but we found it at a pawn shop, and I got it back when I went to Detroit, sub in Detroit Symphony. I gave it to Randy Hawes, and he was subbing in Chicago, and he brought it to her. So it had a good ending to that
Oh
story.
my gosh, that's
Oh
amazing.
The horn was sold for $15.
How did you,
That's
wait, I need
amazing.
to understand how you knew that was Gail's horn.
Well, Louis Stout, his father used to teach at University of Michigan, saw it at a pawn shop, bought it for $15, got it to me. I took it to Detroit. Randy took it to Chicago.
Wow.
So she got her horn back, and I think Gail sent me a nice box of Harry and James fruit in return.
Fruit.
Yes.
Man, I want to be in Corbin's backyard right now. I don't know what exactly is going on, but boy.
Probably smells amazing there, Corbin.
I can smell it from here, dude.
Andy's kitchen too,
Yeah.
and yours.
Oh, man.
Seems like we should take all of these parties over to the Spur. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I think it's time. You know, I'm so grateful for all of you for being part of GTMF Backstage Pass today, and just for sharing your stories, for sharing your culinary prowess, and just having us have a good time listening to music and talking about how we miss each other and how we're looking forward to coming back in 2021 for the festival. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. And for all of our guests, for all of you, of course, we're going to hop over to the Spur. I'm there already, if you haven't noticed. All of you can join us there so that you can pop on screen and actually be part of the bass party now. And Corbin's going to share some food, and Dave's going to share his food, and we'll all have a good time. So thank you to all of you. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Mike, for making this a wonderful show. And thank you to all of you in the audience for watching. And so we'll see you at the Spur.
So good to be with you.
Great to be with all of you.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.